I never thought some tall grass could make my whole life crazy, but here we are one morning in January. I was just trying to get to my little farm like I always do. Coffee in my hand, old country music playing on the radio, my old beat-up '94 Ford. Truck making noise as I made that same turn off the big road. The air was cold and crisp like Texas gets, and all I wanted was a quiet weekend, fixing up my barn. Maybe watching the sun go down from my porch, but standing at my gate, bent down like some scary statue, was a woman I hadn't seen in months. Meredith Caldwell, fancy workout pants, shiny white shoes, perfect blonde hair, and a ruler, a dang ruler. She was measuring my grass. I rolled down the window, tried to keep my voice calm. Morning. Meredith! She didn't even jump, just turned around, eyes mad. This grass is 3.5 inches tall, Noah. The HOA rule says 2 inches max. I took a slow drink of coffee. Meredith, just like I do. My farm isn't controlled by your HOA. My land was. Here, 40 years before your neighborhood even had streetlights. Her face turned the same color as her fingernails, that's what you say, but your ugly place hurts. Our house prices, that rusty gate, that truck that drips oil, that broken down barn, it's awful. I didn't say anything, just waited. She pulled out her phone and started filming live, calling me a homeless person, a danger to the neighborhood. Even said something about me being scary. Then, right there in front of God and Facebook, she called 911. I stood there, shocked, boots making noise on the rocks, while she told the phone person about me like I was some dangerous guy running away. Yes, he's wearing dirty clothes and the car looks like nobody owns it. I feel scared. 10 minutes later, a sheriff's helper drove up Ryan. I'd known him for years. As soon as he got out of his car and saw what was happening, I could see his face get tired. Ma'am, he said, trying to keep his face serious. What seems to be the problem Meredith started. Talking about neighborhood rules and safety and who knows what else. I waited for her to stop talking, then gave Ryan my ID card. He looked surprised, looked at the name Judge Noah Weller. Sorry about this, sir. You can go on your land. Meredith was shocked. He's a judge, that can't be right, look at him. But Ryan waved me through. She backed away, still filming, still talking mad, and I thought that would be done with it. I was wrong. An hour later, I get an email from her, or really, from the HOA, called Very Important Neighborhood Warning. It had pictures from her video, my license plate circled in red words like, won't keep his place nice and mean person. That same day, a teenager walked up and gave me a $300 punishment letter from the HOA saying I caused trouble and didn't cut my grass. I stood there holding that paper, looking out at the neighborhood far away, all those same-looking roofs and fake fences. Meredith's house sat right at the front, her flag waving, her grass made perfect with chemicals. I walked back inside, sat at my desk, and got out a yellow writing pad at the top. I wrote, Caldwell versus Weller proof list. Then I picked up my phone, Brady. I told my work helper, cancel my Monday, we've got stuff to do. By the next week, Meredith had called a special HOA meeting to plan a vote to take over my farm into HOA control, saying it hurt how the neighborhood looked. I showed up, sat quietly in the back. She stood at the front with a computer show showing pictures of my land, my gate, my truck, even a picture of me in my own driveway, and said I was bad for the neighborhood working together. Half the room looked confused. My neighbor Rosa put up her hand. But isn't his farm outside the HOA? Meredith gave this fake sweet smile. Technically, yes, but it looks bad for our neighborhood, and that gives us the right to protect our house prices. I didn't say anything, but I recorded every second. Next morning, I found a note pushed under my door on HOA paper. Nobody signed it. Fix the gate, cut the grass, or bad things will happen. That was the third strike. Over the next few days, I found out more. Rosa came by and told me how Meredith made her pay $200 last spring because her flowers were too bright. Said they didn't match HOA color rules. Then there was Ken, 2 houses down from her. He was told his flagpole was too tall. The guy fought in the war. Then came the grass cutters. I came home to find workers on my land, cutting down my wildflower field. The one my wife had planted years ago. When I asked them about it, they showed me the work paper signed by Meredith Caldwell. And 2 days later, a bill from the HOA for $500 came in my mailbox. That's when Brady, God bless his stubborn young brain, looked into the HOA's papers and found treasure papers showing HOA payments adding up to $50,000 to a grass cutting company owned by Meredith's cousin, and every one of those payments had been signed by the money person. Edith Langston. Problem was Edith died in 2020, but her signature kept showing up all the way up to last month. We had her, but I wasn't just going to take this to court. I was going to show her to the people she thought she controlled at the next HOA meeting. I stood up before she could talk. I'd like to talk about a problem, I said, holding up a folder. About $50,000 in HOA money signed by someone who's been dead for 3 years. The room got quiet. Meredith turned white. "What are you talking about?" she yelled. "This is someone trying to hurt me." "No," I said calmly. "It's called fake signing. And I've got copies for anyone who wants them." The neighbors started whispering. Meredith tried to take control back, but it was getting away fast, especially when her own team turned on her Jennifer. The quiet one wanted to see the real papers. Then Rosa stood up and said loud and clear, "She made me pay money for flowers." It got bigger. One person after another told their stories, bullying, scary words, fines for lawn chairs, paint colors, yard decorations, and then Meredith, red-faced and shaking, made the big mistake of yelling, "I didn't need the team, I handled everything myself." Dead quiet. Then someone in the back said, "Did she just say she did the crime?" She stomped out, but the big mess had already started. Brady found more fake bills, made-up emails, and a fake video she paid someone to make that was supposed to show me taking bribe money. The problem, I was in federal court at the time, and the courtroom video proved it. We gave everything to the police. And a month later, Meredith was arrested. The trial was mean. Witnesses told about her being a bully. Rosa even played a recording of Meredith threatening to call child services on her over a trampoline when asked about the fake signatures. Meredith said it was easier than explaining Edith had died. She was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Fake papers, stealing money, fake signing, messing with proof. The HOA closed itself down the week after the decision, and me. I stood at my farm gate with a paintbrush in hand, not because anyone told me to, but because I finally felt like it was mine again. That old truck still sits in the driveway, and the grass still wild, still free. So yeah, all of this over grass. But it was never really about that, was it? It was about control, about someone who thought they could change the rules, bully their neighbors, and shut up anyone who didn't fit into their perfectly perfect version of life. She picked the wrong person. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with an HOA nightmare or a neighbor who went too far? Put your story in the comments. Let's talk about what being fair really looks like and what it means to fight back the right way. And if you want more stories like this, you know what to do. Subscribe and join the fight. I never thought some tall grass could make my whole life crazy. But here we are one morning in January. I was just trying to get to my little farm like I always do. Coffee in my hand, old country music playing on the radio, my old beat-up '94 Ford truck making noise as I made that same turn off the big road. The air was cold and crisp like Texas gets, and all I wanted was a quiet weekend fixing up my barn, maybe watching the sun go down from my porch. But standing at my gate, bent down like some scary statue, was a woman I hadn't seen in months. Meredith Caldwell. Fancy workout pants, shiny white shoes, perfect blonde hair, and a ruler. A dang ruler. She was measuring my grass.